Kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan. Talagang ganyan ang mga bayani. Talagang ganyan ang mga naghahabol at umuusig sa ngalan ng matuwid, sa ngalan ng dangal, sa ngalan ng isang dalisay na pag-ibig. Parating buhay ang pag-asa.
Wakas ng Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa. Oh, hi there! Sorry to keep you waiting. I was just finishing this book. Anyway, have you ever finished a book and felt like the story burrowed deep into your soul, leaving behind a whirlwind of questions? That's the feeling I'm chasing today as we delve into the captivating world of Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa. This isn't just a book review. It's an exploration. Greetings everyone, I am Regine Senora from ABM 11 Henry C. Come and embark on a journey with me as we delve into the profound depths of the novel Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa, unraveling its concealed meanings and symbolism. Get ready to decode the intricate layers of this literary piece, one layer at a time. Let's dive in! Before we begin, let's get to know more about the author of this novel, Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa, written by Ismael Alberto Amado. Who is Ismael Alberto Amado? He was the son of a prominent landowner in San Mateo, Rizal. After finishing high school, he went to the United States to study for 5 years under the pensionado program, which the American administrator developed at the time to drive socio-educational change in the Philippines. Amado taught in a few schools in Manila after finishing his studies, bringing his knowledge from the United States with him. He also wrote articles for Manila newspapers and edited in Nacimiento Filipino, a Spanish Tagalog bilingual newspaper. As much as you want to know more about his biography, such as his parents, partners, and personal life, there are no sources to this. However, certain sources claim that Amado lived on his own and focused on being an author and a politician. Wow, what an interesting job! Now that we've learned a few things about the author, let's now dive into the world of this literary gem. Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa, meaning Meteor of Hope, is a novel that was initially released in 1918 during the onset of World War I. It was later republished by the University of the Philippines Press in 1991, and it was written when the author was just 18 years old. The book follows the tale of a man who dutifully follows the laws and justice set by the colonial authority, ultimately choosing to defy them in the end to preserve his nation's unique principle of law and justice. It is Amado's one and only novel. With its radical and anti-imperialist tone, poet and national artist Virgilio Almario and art and literary scholar Soledad Estrellas remarked that this novel contributed to the protest tradition of Filipino literature. According to the foreword of this novel, Amado completed and printed this novel in August 1909. However, due to the state of politics at the moment, he opted not to publish it. As a result, the work was not published until 1980, when political views were more widely recognized in literature and romantic stories were in blossom. Scholars argue that Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa holds a mirror to the oppressive structures of the colonial past and the unwavering spirit of Filipino youth seeking freedom, making it a crucial read for Filipinos today. Now that we've learned a little bit of background, let's learn more about the characters who brought life to this story. First is the main character, Gerardo. Gerardo is a 19-year-old male with a strong heart, clear mind, physically strong, and has boldness in any perilous work. He strongly believes that the policies and management of the Americans are good. Next, Elena, also known as Elena, is an educated young woman who strongly believes in pro-Filipino views. Her remarkable beauty attracted numerous suitors, and she is Julio's daughter and romantically involved with Gerardo. Julio, Elena's father and an owner of a bar. He holds strong convictions and was the individual engaged in a conflict with Stag within his own bar. Stag holds a sense of superiority over others, displaying arrogance and a lack of humility, as if he's unaware of how to show respect. Additionally, he's a chronic drinker. Capitan Memo holds the position of wealth leader and municipal president in Libis. He's notorious for his greed, relentlessly pursuing money and authority. Moreover, he exhibits extreme cruelty towards individuals, often making baseless accusations and subjecting those found guilty to inhuman punishments. He is the leader of gambling and cockpits in their area. She is the wife of Capitan Memo. She was the abused and raped 10-year-old girl by Capitan Memo. Her parents were killed by Capitan Memo and their money were also stolen by him. Pasita is a 14-year-old girl who was told by her parents that she should stop going to school since women have no job other than to clean the house, serve their parents, and care for their families. She is a member of the youth organization Dakilang Mithi that seeks to reform their society. Juancho is Gerardo's staunch enemy in everything, and he failed to capture the heart of Elena. He's the youngest sibling of Capitan Memo, whom he shared his bloody revenge against Gerardo. Pepe was the head or leader of the youth organization, the Kilang Miti, and a man of few words. He doesn't use fancy languages and speaks straight to the point. Florante is the best friend of Gerardo, who saved him from the evil hands of Capitan Memo and Duancho. Faura is also a member of the Kilang Miti. He is always on the side of righteousness and goodness. He cares deeply about his country. Let us now move on to the point of view. The point of view of Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa is third-person point of view, specifically omniscient third person, which means the narrator has access to all of the characters' thoughts and feelings and can freely move between them. This provides the reader with a comprehensive and informative view of the novel's events as well as the social and political environment. As we begin to understand the characters that shape this narrative, it's equally important to explore the vivid settings that provide the backdrop to their journeys. Let's shift our focus now to the where and when of the events in the novel. The story took place in different municipalities and cities here in the Philippines during the American occupation in the 20th century. The first place is in Libis, Quezon City. This is the municipality wherein most of the events in the novel occurred. This is the place where Capitan Memo ruled. Because of the large number of cockpits, this is regarded as the haven for vices in the Philippines. There are prohibited games in every nook and cranny, day and night. This only shows that corruption and exploitation by other leaders were rampant even in the early days. Next is in Tarlac City. This is where Capitan Memo initially held office before moving to Libis. Capitan Memo committed horrific crimes like murder, robbery, and rape with his American friend Stag here. By employing these diverse settings, Amado effectively portrays the complex Filipino societies under the American rule and the various people involved in the struggle for liberation. Each setting contributes to the rich tapestry of the story and its lasting message of resistance against injustice. Let us now move on to the most exciting part of the story, the plot. The plot begins with the disturbance of a newly arrived American named Stag in the town of Libis. He wants to drink alcohol at Julio's store, but he doesn't have any money and Julio won't let him have a debt. Because of Julio's straightforward refusal, this resulted in a physical fight of Stag in which he injured Julio. Fortunately, Gerardo, a bold young guy of 19 years old, interfered in the dispute. He stopped Stag from hurting Julio and dragging Julio's store. Gerardo dragged Stag to court, and the story introduced Captain Memo, who was with Stag in committing horrific crimes such as murder, robbery, and rape in the province of Tarlac. Capitan Memo recognized Stag, so he made a way to keep Stag out of jail, but in the end, justice still prevailed. Elena, also known as Elaine, was introduced. She's Julio's daughter and is an educated young woman who strongly believes in pro-Filipino views. She's friend with Gerardo for a long time. Next is the rising action. Stag had escaped from prison 2 days later according to reports. It was also revealed that Capitan Memo's town is a gambling and cockpit haven in the Philippines. During a meeting called by Gerardo, Capitan Memo's wife told everyone about the heinous act that her husband committed against her. When Capitan Memo was still in office in Tarlac, she was raped and her father was murdered by Capitan Memo and Stag. Gerardo quickly took action and petitioned the court to remove the Capitan, known for corruption and gambling in the council. Capitan Memo was demoted, but he vowed vengeance on Gerardo for taking away his position, authority, and name. Meanwhile, after Gerardo came from the administration house, he passed by Elaine's house. There, they confessed their love for each other. When Gerardo noticed that the youth organization Dakilang Mithi was becoming less active in its efforts to establish a night school, develop a library, publish a newspaper, and campaign against gambling, he became concerned. He announced that the organization will hold a celebration and dance offering at the house of their leader, Pepe. But what they are unaware of is that this is the only way for all of their members of their organization to gather and attend the meeting. Why are the youth so active when it comes to celebrations? Gerardo lectured. Next is the climax. The meeting was interrupted when a person dressed as a demon came. He conveyed his desire to talk privately with Gerardo through the letter. The demon turned out to be Capitan Memo. Gerardo was taken by the demon to a dark wilderness where he would unleash his revenge. But before Capitan Memo could do any harm to Gerardo, his best friend Florante arrived to save him. Capitan Memo fled into the darkness. After that, they noticed a chariot or kalasa rushing down the road. It's Juancho taking Elaine as a hostage. Fortunately, the kalasa came to a stop at the bridge. Elena was rescued by the two men. Florante and Juancho clashed and Florante was stopped. Gerardo retaliated for his friend, and Juancho, who didn't know how to swim, ended up falling off the bridge. What happened to Capitan Memo? I'm not sure either. It was up to the readers to figure out what happened to him. Falling action. Florante's stomach wound was so bad that the doctors in Libis were unable to treat it. Florante's strong body was slowly deteriorating with each passing day, so Gerardo traveled to Manila in search of another doctor. Florante died while Gerardo was away. Before he died, he asked his mother to cover his coffin with the Philippine flag. The citizens were terrified because it was against the law, but the mother seemed unfazed. At the funeral, the American lieutenant disrespected the flag and the funeral. Fowler fought bravely to defend the flag and his friend's funeral, but he was arrested and imprisoned. And the last part is the resolution. When Gerardo heard of this, he rushed to the jail and freed Fowler. He also murdered the lieutenant who had degraded the Philippine flag. Fowler fled to another place where he lived peacefully and securely. That's the ending. What an interesting novel, right? Now that we understand the flow of the story, let's drop our shovel and dig deeper to the theme. The novel's theme is a citizen, Gerardo's love of his nation, and by completing his duties as a citizen, such as aiding his fellow man, he appears to awaken the sleeping spirits of his fellow men. This motivated his peers and they established a youth organization, Dakilang Mithi, focused on societal and governmental improvements and reforms. Furthermore, it demonstrates the unequal treatment and rights of women, which is still experienced today. It is appropriate that we instill in our hearts and minds that women are not just expected to stay at home, but are also capable of performing other roles just like men. Gender should not be used to determine our abilities and goals in life. Furthermore, It is demonstrated that achieving justice is difficult, especially for the lower levels of society. But we may still make changes through individuals or youth who are brave and want to pursue justice despite their circumstances. Let us not lose hope, since the book says that for those who seek and persecute in the sake of righteousness, honor and pure love, hope is always alive. Wow! We've now reached the final part, the critical analysis. Grab your magnifying glass and prepare your brain as we analyze and start Sherlocking this novel, Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa by Ismael Amado. Overall, Ismael Amado's work, Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa, is definitely an inspiring story. It emphasizes the events in our society that occurred during the American occupation. The significance of loving one's native land was emphasized here, where we should not slumber, but rather open our eyes to what is going on around us. Let us be courageous and defend, love, and be proud of our nation. The events in the novel can be correlated to the ones that continue to take place in the present. For example, the corruption of a high-ranking government official, Kapitan Memo, may still be seen in the present, whereas other members of the government are corrupt and abusive of their power. It also contains symbolism, which helps the author convey the underlying message of the novel. Gerardo symbolizes the youth that strive for change and aspire for a better future. Furthermore, Elena symbolizes the purity and beauty of the Philippines. She represents the idealized Filipina embodying traditional characteristics and beauty. In terms of this structure, we can state that the story has a proper structure and sequence of events, so that the readers can fully understand the flow of the story. It implies deep Filipino terms that will help us improve our Filipino vocabulary while transporting us to readers in the period of the American occupation. Immersing ourselves in these words becomes an enriching journey, expanding our understanding of both language and history. And that, my dear reader, is the novel Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa. Thanks for joining me on this literary roller coaster, and remember, critical thinking never goes out of fashion. It's a timeless trendsetter of intellect. Bye!